So, last time around, we managed to gain access to the first floor basement of the facility, but due to a number of locked doors and a rather childish ghost, our exploration was pretty limited. Still, we were able to find one unlocked door leading to a monitoring room. And with that, we can try to get a feel about the general area. It's a much more condensed area than the residential area we just left. And in fact, the one main area we're going to really be able to look around in right now is the vegetable plant. Though, before we head into there, I'm still kind of wondering exactly what was in the research hallway here. Now, it definitely was not an overly aggressive ghost, because there wasn't any fog and we weren't instantly killed. But it doesn't appear from the cameras that we're going to be able to get any additional clues regarding that ghost. There's no sounds, no visuals on the ghost. Problem is that if we do head back into the hallway, it will just immediately latch on to our backs again, so yeah, we're not going to want to head back into that hallway just yet. Instead, we want to take advantage of the newly unlocked hallway here, leading down to the vegetable plant, and that's where we are going to head, though it is really a good idea to make sure you scout out ahead. Now, we already saw the passageway here, and it was pretty dark, so it was pretty easy to miss the fact that further down the corridor, there is this loose panel. And in fact, if we zoom in on the loose panel, we might see something.
Are you telling me to die? How? How could you leave me at a place like this? I will not die. I will not die. Claudia, I promise. I will once again. Kenneth, once more, give me power.
So a very angry, mysterious figure that seems to know our fiance, Claudia. Also, it mentions a new name we haven't heard before, Kenneth. Definitely something to keep in mind for the future. But our next camera is for the vegetable plant itself. And very true to its name, it is very full of vegetation, to the point where it is partly obstructing our camera's view. Though we can just barely make out the fact that there's not only one, but two ghosts in the fog of the vegetable plant. Yeah, along with the view being obstructed, the camera's motion is also obstructed, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to follow along with the patrol for the ghost in here. Now, that isn't to say that the camera in here isn't useful. It definitely is, because if we go to camera 2, then we see what appears to be a small stuffed animal, possibly in an upper area of the vegetable plant. But yeah, considering that there is quite a dense fog and two ghosts, we are going to want to deal with that fog. And the good news is that in the cultivation control room, we are pretty quickly able to find a means to get rid of that fog. Yeah, along with the ventilation control device, there are a few other points of interest in the cultivation control room. But the one we can really see right now is this box on the wall here. It's got a little bit of text underneath it, but yeah, we're not going to be able to read it from where we are right now. So, we are going to have to deal with two ghosts in a very confined space before we can really even head to the ventilation controls. But still, the final other areas in the laboratory that we can see right now, well, there's not a lot to them. And on a very cursory glance, they seem to be pretty empty. Can't read the sign on the wall. But yeah, in camera 2, we can see what seems to be an injured ghost. And in fact, along with the injured ghost, there is another recording that we can get.
I'll take a look around. You stay here, okay?
Sweetie.
Don't worry. Trust me. We will be saved. Stay here no matter what.
You've always been like this. Kind, confident, so assertive. 10 years have already passed. Maybe I'm the one who's changed. Stay with me a little longer. Oh.
So just a little bit of melodrama that we will not be able to deal with just yet, but that we will be dealing with in the future. Now, though, I think it is time for us to investigate the vegetable plant and see if we can't get around those two, childlike roadblocks. Now, I will say, technically, you can just watch the security monitors and probably get a relative impression about the two young ghost patrol pattern. But I feel what actually works better is to just kind of, poke your head in there. Because you might notice that central door is open right now. And each one of these doors is not open by pressing a button. Instead, they are proximity triggered. So if you see that middle central corridor, pathway open, that means that both those ghosts are waiting down there, and you can do what I just did and easily skate around both of them by going either left or right. Now we can safely vent the gas.
ID verified. Ventilation system activated.
I will say, though, as opposed to young Carol that we tried to get around earlier, you really cannot brute force your way through those two ghosts. They will completely block your path and end up pincering you, leading to a very quick demise. But yeah, now that we are in the control room here, we can read the sign and tell that there are supposed to be some keys in this box, but it looks like some people were pretty irresponsible, and there is only one set of keys left in here, but we will be pocketing those for right now. And along with that, it looks like there is some equipment to do a little bit of experimentation. Though in the end, it looks like one of the small Bunsen burners was just being used for a bit of cooking. Definitely worth keeping that in mind. And finally, there are some lockers back here where you can recharge your batteries if you do need it. Along with another battery, though we're just going to leave that behind, just in case we do need that in the future. But yeah, now with the fog cleared, we should be able to talk to those two young ghosts and, I guess, see what they're looking for. Thankfully, once they become docile, they do get set into one particular location, so they are not just patrolling around in here.
It's his birthday today. Katrina and I bought a stuffed lion for him. Oh, please help us find it. I need to make up with him.
So the young twins, Katerina and Catalina, are apparently on the lookout for a stuffed lion, and we just happen to know where one might be. I think we saw on the monitors that there was a stuffed lion inside one of these large greenhouses here. It looks like the fauna has kind of overrun the facility, to the point where I think it might have broken some of the electronics, so I can only assume that the lion isn't going to be in that greenhouse. Also, there is a control over here for the air temperature. Yeah, this one seems to be broken. I can only assume that maybe some of the vines might have gotten caught up in some of the inner workings. The opposing side of the vegetable plant, does look like we have some working greenhouse controls. Well, what you believe it, working air temperature controls. Yeah, you do want to make sure and do that first, otherwise you will not be able to operate the different trays here in the greenhouse. And you can just kind of barely make out the small stuffed lion up there in the upper left-hand corner. So we are going to have to do a little bit of puzzle solving here. And we have one open tray area, and then we have one broken tray. First things first, though, we want to make sure and use that key we just found. Otherwise, these controls are useless.
Please set tray arrangement.
And the next thing is we need to understand how to read these controls. Now, you can't just move one tray, like, you can't, so the green blocks are representative of each tray. The white is the blank, empty spot. The thing is that you can't move a tray from one occupied spot to another. So it does take a little bit of finagling to get the tray that was all the way in the upper left-hand corner all the way to the bottom right-hand corner where we should be able to eject the tray. Also, there is the small caveat that the lower left-hand tray is completely immovable, so yeah, it's not that hard, just a little bit tedious. And once you have the tray in place, just press the blue button down here, and that causes the tray to pop out, and we get our prize. Also, in case you were needing a healing item, there is a syringe hidden away in another one of these trays. But I think we're good for right now, so let's go ahead and give those young girls their missing brother's birthday present.
I need to make up with him. The lion! There it is! We finally found you! Yeah, but is Jacob still going to be mad? I don't like it when he's mad. But he can be really nice. I know. Yeah, we can make up with him with this. He'll want to play with us again. Yeah, I want him to play with us again. Yeah, we'll play lots together.
So young Katrina and Catalina, with their souls now at ease, are set free. And we still have that lion, which means that we should be able to deal with the ghost in the hallway, who we now know to be young Jacob. There is still one slight problem, though, with, releasing his soul. And that's the fact we haven't even been able to talk to young Jacob. So if we try to use that stuffed animal, nothing happens. So before we can even use it, we are going to have to figure out some way to get him off of our backs. Now the thing is, right now the only thing left open to us is the bathroom. And it does take a little bit of thinking to realize that he is more than likely sitting on our shoulders behind our backs. So maybe we just have to see him by using a reflection. And more often than not, there is usually a mirror in a bathroom, so you might think, hey, we should just be able to head over to the bathroom and... Yeah, there's a bit of a problem with that, though. There is no longer a mirror in the gentleman's bathroom. That isn't to say that there isn't still a reason to head into the boys' bathroom. Because in the very final stall, there is an item you want to make sure and pick up. Granted, it is a bit hard to see with the handprints, but amongst the janitor's materials, we do find some glass cleaner. And that should technically help us if we do manage to find a reflective surface. Which only leaves us with the ladies' bathroom. Also, I don't know why both of the bathrooms had the same movie poster for the hit film Earth, but yeah. While on the surface it looks like there is no mirror here, there is indeed just enough of a mirror for us to even notice. It's just to clean the glass, you do have to stand at a rather particular spot. So, young Jacob has finally freed himself from our backs. And we do get the one of the few rare chances of actually seeing our own reflection in the game. Yeah, otherwise there isn't too much to the ladies' bathroom. We do have another spare battery we can pick up in case we have been, just dawdling quite a bit and our searchlight has been running low. Yeah, more importantly, since Jacob is now no longer on our backs, we should be able to talk to him and give him his very late birthday present. And yet again, much like his sisters, he is just set to one location now that he is no longer trying to bother us.
They're late. My dad used to put me on his shoulders. It's not important anymore. Hey, did you meet my sisters? They're over there. I want to go home. What are they doing? They're always like this. Selfish. Both of them. My parents spoil them too much just because they're younger. I don't want sisters. They need to go away. They're late. What are they doing? They're not still looking, are they? I can't believe Dad bought them a stuffed animal. I didn't do anything wrong.
So we see there was a bit of misdirected animosity between brother and sister, but we should be able to rectify that now.
This should be mine. The lion's my favorite animal. Oh, Catalina, Katrina, I'm sorry. Thanks. She was looking for someone who was in the shuttle with her. We all escaped to here. But then monsters appeared, so we ran and lost each other. I don't know what happened after that, but someone else might. Everyone should be around here somewhere. I heard her shouting, "Where's Richard?" Hope you find her soon.
So we managed to free another spirit, and for doing so we get a very nice reward of a level 1 keycard, along with some additional information about what happened to Claudia after the wrecked shuttle. We also get what is our name, which is Richard Osman, which, well, that is the name of the protagonist from the previous 2 Echo Knights, and what kind of ties all the games together, along with 1 or 2 other key elements. But, yeah, now that we have our new level 1 keycard, most of the first floor basement is now open to us.
Access granted. Releasing lock.
And since we are right near food storage, that seems as good a place as any to start exploring. Though immediately we are greeted by even more of this extremely dangerous fog. But fortune does smile upon us yet again, as before we just stumble blindly into this new area, we are given access to the monitor room. But for right now, I think we have done enough exploration and saving of souls, so hopefully you will join me next time as we continue and hopefully finish up the first floor basement. See you then.